might not think much about tires. They're just those round, rubber things that sometimes cost a lot of money, and it sucks when they go flat. A lot of design and new technology goes into modern tires, but it wasn't always that way. There are some really strange tire designs that designers created that you won't believe. You'll probably think that one or two of them are ridiculous. Now check out these most insane tires. You would have probably had to be around during the 50s when this short-lived fad came out. Imagine not only being able to pick the color of your car, but also some illuminated colored tires. They were made of synthetic rubber and could be tinted in any color to match your ride. The interesting thing is that the Chicago Tribune and Life both covered the tires during the research and development phase. If you think about it by today's standards, these glowing tires were simply bizarre. Sure, they looked kinda cool, and they sure brought more attention to a beautiful big 50s American car. Goodyear decided to get into the game and threw on a set of glowing red tires on a white Dodge Polaris convertible and then drove it around downtown Miami. People were in awe, and traffic simply stopped to get a look at the car and its glowing red tires. But that was one of the main problems. Other motorists became entranced by the pretty colors and ran red lights or crashed into other cars. By the way, if you're curious about seeing what they look like, it's rumored that there are 2 custom hot rods with glowing tires in the Jerry Lewis film Cinderfella. As we were saying, cars in the 50s were a little on the large side, and parking problems are no new thing in the USA. Put a bunch of these big cars on the side of the street, and it's limited parking spaces, and you had to be a genius at parking or just forget about it. However, in the 50s, someone came up with the idea of adding a retractable fifth wheel to aid in parking your big car in a spot where other big cars made it nearly impossible. Or you might have even been boxed in and unable to get your car out, which could be a real problem if you were on your way to work. But just turn the knob under the dashboard and a fifth wheel pops out behind the rear axle, and it lifts the 2 rear drive tires off the ground, allowing the car's rear end to swing in either direction, so that it's clear and the car can simply drive off. Turning the car around to park in a driveway is a big chore, but with this wheel installed, the whole rear of the car can swing in a complete circle, so the car can be backed into the driveway. It was a nifty invention, and some wonder why it's not in use today. What do you think? Perhaps in a stunt to prove that a Lexus can still give a good ride even if the tires weren't very good. But how about tires that are made of ice? Lexus chose to pair up with some ice sculpting experts from Hamilton Ice Sculptors in the UK, who hand-sculpted 4 perfectly finished tires, which were made from optically perfect and crystal clear ice. The car itself had its craftsmanship tested, and it was exposed to a 5-day deep freeze at -30°C that left it in a thick layer of ice. The tires took 3 months to create from start to finish and had 2 main challenges. One would be to recreate the Lexus 5 twin-spoke alloy wheel and its Yokohama winter tire with incredible precision, and the other was to make it strong enough to support the car. But those ice sculptors were able to pull it off with traditional ice sculpting methods and using advanced laser scanning and 3-dimensional computer-aided design. The end result of seeing this thing driving around on glowing blue ice tires is kind of fun. You probably couldn't put together a list of crazy tires without throwing in Mythbusters square wheels. If you sit around long enough, you'll likely come up with the most bizarre of ideas. The idea of square wheels is somewhat ridiculous, and it would seem that once they were made, you'd go nowhere, or it would be one heck of a bumpy ride. So the guys had some square things like wheels made that had a thick rubber lining. The idea was to see if the ride would smooth out if you went faster. Many viewers thought the truck wouldn't move at all, but it did, and it was one heck of a bumpy ride. The ride did smooth out just a bit as the truck accelerated, but one of those square wheels bites the dust, and Adam and Jamie almost lose control of the truck. They decide to do more testing and offset the wheels and tear the truck to pieces. Square wheels, it's not going to be a thing. From what was possibly the worst idea in a tire and wheel, we switch gears to something that is really cool. These tires and wheels are completely reconfigurable and can change from a conventional round rotating tire and wheel to a triangular track in just 2 seconds while you were driving. The system was created by DARPA and Carnegie Mellon University's National Robotics Engineering Center. These really high-tech shape-shifting tires and wheels will allow the vehicle they are on to traverse almost any kind of terrain, and the tracks would work excellent in sand, mud, or snow by increasing the vehicle's surface contact and traction. There seems to be no shortage of ideas when it comes to tires. The Hankook Tire Company recently displayed 2 concept tires and wheels, the Hexonic and Aeroflow concept tires and wheels. The Hexonic is made for self-driving cars and is focused primarily on ride comfort for passengers, and its tread is broken up into a series of hexagonal modules that appear to split apart and create channels for water, and each one also has a Y-shape in the middle that extends from the smooth surface to add more grip. It's almost like another transforming tire. This tire has no less than 7 sensors built into it, relaying and analyzing things like grip, temperature, and the road surface. The Aeroflow is a motorsports tire that has a wide body and a fat, slick tread, which can separate in the middle to become much wider. It exposes a turbine impeller in the middle, which when sucking in oncoming air, creates additional downforce if necessary. It's some high-tech stuff you'd see in some futuristic sci-fi film. If you can find a way to advertise something in a truly unique way that will get a consumer's attention, then you're onto something that can make you some big bucks. Carl and Art were relaxing and having a beer on the bank of the Thames when they noticed there was a ton of people biking in the city. This gave them the idea that bikes could be a really efficient advertising vehicle after calculating that there were 400,000 trips made per week by cyclists. But no one wants to put signs on their bikes or pull something silly, and they needed a cool idea, and that was the Noma Wheel. The 3D display unit looks like a propeller and has a combination of chips, magnets, and LEDs. When the blades rotate with the wheel, they create the illusion of content hovering in the air, kind of like a 3D hologram. It took 1.5 years to develop and assemble the first working prototype. What it does is allow companies to take advantage of an affordable holographic effect for advertising. It's cool stuff, but the real question is, would you put this thing on your bike and advertise? You could make some good money doing it, and it will definitely get you some attention. Imagine having a tire that can turn and move in all directions besides just being a rubber cushion for your ride. That is what the Lydiard Wheels do. The tires are rolls of rubber that ride on motorized spin rollers that can roll the rubber tube tire inside out or vice versa, which allows the car to be moved in almost any direction, and completely sideways if you choose. It's a really neat idea, but the argument is how long the tires would last, and if the stretching of the rubber would allow for an even and smooth ride. It is definitely a really wild thing to watch in action. On the lighter side of things, we found an interesting video of some do-it-yourself super spiked Moto tires for ice racing. But no matter how simple this method is, it's hard to imagine being bent over the tire for such a long time. The method uses a big bag of metal screws and a cordless screwdriver and a ton of patience. The screws are inserted all the way around the inside of the tire, and each tire took 5,000 screws for a total of 10,000 screws. That's a lot of work. However, some guys said this would structurally ruin the tire, or it could have a chance of rupturing and sending screws and chunks of rubber flying, while others say it would work. Let us know what you think. In the military, it's a big thing if you're in a combat vehicle, and suddenly your vehicle has been rendered disabled by a flat tire. But not if your vehicle is equipped with these tires that have a hollow honeycomb design, which gives it the strength and same characteristics as a conventional tire pressurized with air. The 37-inch Honeycomb airless tire is also bullet and bomb-proof, and the polymetric web inside is so cool looking that if you're sporting some of these, then you don't want or need any hubcaps. That same web can withstand an IED attack and make a 50-mile-per-hour pursuit or getaway. Well, it's probably been a long time coming, and Goodyear is always one of those companies to jump on an idea or concept in case it becomes the next big thing. It seems that the company has come up with the idea of a tire that is shaped like a sphere. Of course, this shape would mean ultimate maneuverability, as you can move your car in almost any direction. The Goodyear Eagle 360 would likely show up first on supercars and would allow any vehicle to move in and out of almost any tight situation. It would seem that the tire would have less of a contact patch, when in fact it would have a larger area due to a layer of foam under the tread. They would reduce sliding, and the round shape would allow fluid lateral movement. We hope you enjoyed the video. Let us know which one of these you thought was the coolest. If you liked the video, then don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know when a new video arrives. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.